Hi, Deb here. I've had some dreams and stuff I've been wanting to share, but frankly, it's been all I could do just to go to work and do what I got to do. Um, and plus, I really needed some time to uh, spend with Yahweh and really try and decipher more how dreams work, more. I just needed to know when for sure they were from him, when when it was demonic, when it was just me, blah blah blah. So I spent some time trying to figure that kind of stuff out and doing some more research. But I do want to share one that I had um this week on Wednesday. And though there is a very personal side of this dream or part, um, there's also a part that has to do with the church. And so that's why I want to share it. I don't think there's anything in here that should harm anybody that I love or anybody that's mentioned in these dreams. So it is a series of three um, short dreams. Okay, the first thing on Wednesday, November 15th, I saw a whitewashed spider on a white wall. The white paint made the spider camouflaged, but one could still see his shape and his legs that were raised. So he was covered in paint, um, but he was not flattened or smushed. And so you could still see him. And it reminded me of um, the scripture where Jesus was telling the Pharisees that they were whitewashed tombs with dead men's bones inside. So I think that that is the first picture of the church right now. Um, I think it's a whitewashed tomb with dead men's bones inside. And I'm when I say the church, I'm talking about basically overall. Okay. Um, and I watch a lot of videos, so I know that it's not just in the United States that this is happening, but all over the world. Churches are just dead. They tried to become seeker sensitive, and there are just so many reasons why. Um, but I believe a lot of it was the Freemasons taking over, which if you watch any of my videos, you already know that I feel that way. So, okay. Then a little while later, that same day, I wanted to say that when I looked up spider, it says an evil spirit that works by entrapping people, false doctrine. So that just kind of went along with what I was saying, that it was about the church. The church is full of false doctrine. Basically the doctrines of demons. And we need to beware. Seriously. Um, okay. I think I need some reading glasses. Oh, but those aren't them. Okay, I'm going to have to try and do it without. All right, I think it was probably 2 or 3 hours later, I dreamt of the father of my children again. His name is Richard, which means this is how it's been tonight. I just like having brain fades. Mighty ruler. Yes, Richard means mighty ruler. We were walking together, Richard and I, and it looked like we were walking back into some town. Then we parted, and I walked a few feet alone. Then a boyfriend of mine came up to me and put a coat on me. He wrapped his arm around me, and we walked together a few steps. Then I had this thought: why am I walking with this guy? It does not seem right. So I leave off of him, and I walk a short distance alone again. I come to an open barn with a cement floor. Richard is in Richard is inside of this barn, and he has decided to bathe inside a turtle shell. I know, weird, right? Like, I don't think my brain could think this up on its own. It's so crazy. So, yeah, Richard is like getting inside of this turtle shell and to take a bath. It's a large shell, but it's much too small for him. So he goes inside of it, and I go over and I look inside the shell, and his fingers are on the outside wiggling, like, whoops, kind of like that. And I touch his fingers. He comes up for air and then goes back down again. I continue to watch him, and he plays with my fingers and me with his. So kind of like his hands are like this, and my hand are like, and I forgot to look up what fingers means again. Then it appears to me like Richard tries to surface to get out of the turtle shell, but he cannot. So I grab his hands and I try and pull him up, but I can't get him out of the turtle shell. I'm afraid for Richard, so even though I feel he may get angry at me for disturbing his bath, I am also afraid that he will die if I don't do something. So I push the shell over, and the water runs out, and Richard gasps for air and is choking out water. I ask, "Are you okay? I thought maybe you could not get out." And Richard says, "I could not get out. You saved my life." I go a few steps to get a hammer to break open the turtle shell to free him the rest of the way. And then before I go to the third scene, or the third dream, the shell perhaps means a self-imposed prison. I think probably he is drowning in a spirit of error, the same spirit of error that's in the church right now, the false doctrines that were mentioned in the first scene with the whitewashed spider. Jeez. The turtle shell was almost black. It had just the slightest tinge of green and brown. Then the next scene, I'm in a rural town, very rural town, just like now, in an old house. Just like now, which is odd because usually the houses in my dream are nothing like where I live. All right, so in this scene, I'm coming out of a house, out of an old house, after talking to my son Noah about his crashed car on the railroad tracks. He had just told me about that he had crashed his car on the railroad tracks, so I was going outside to take a look. The car was silver, and I can see it crashed on the railroad tracks when I come out the front door. And then I see a train come barreling across the terrain. And it crosses yards and open spaces, and it's coming toward the train tracks and towards the house where I'm at. Now, I made a drawing. It's really, really lame, but you got to realize I made it for me, just so I could remember. Let's see if I can get it on here. Nope, wrong way. It's like the opposite. All right, so there's the car, the train tracks, and those other series of rectangles are the train. Okay. All right. When I see the train come barreling towards me, I'm thinking that it's going to merge on the train tracks because it's turned just slightly. So I realize it's probably going to miss me. But I think it's going to merge onto the train tracks. But it doesn't merge onto the train tracks. It barrels really fast over the train tracks and then goes kind of alongside the train tracks on a dirt road. So see it. Oh, I don't think I can get it because it's backwards. I don't think I can get my finger right. But see where I wrote dirt road, it goes on that path. All right. So it crosses over the train tracks after I thought it would merge on them. And then it continues really, really fast down the dirt road. And I think it was actually making the dirt road. I don't think there was prior a dirt road there. So I yell for Noah and Richard to come out of the house and see what happened. The whole train thing was very, very loud and like an earthquake. I thought the train might barrel into the house that I was standing in front of. I thought maybe I would die. I was very surprised, but I was not real scared. Noah and Rich come out of the house. I am very excited and out of breath trying to tell them what happened. And I'm pretty sure at this point, Rich suggests that we follow the train to see what happens. So all three of us run down the dirt road. So I looked up a couple of the things and symbols in this dream. And the color silver can be a symbol of redemption, a symbol of understanding, knowledge, something of valor, worldly knowledge, betrayal, or furnace of affliction. So there's a lot of things it could be. But when I was praying over it, I really, really felt that this train that was like barreling out of control was a picture of the church. And how the church was supposed to be on the train tracks, but the church was not on track. It was not on track at all. And right now, I know a lot of people in the body of Christ think the train is getting back on track, that it's speeding and it's going to get back on track. A lot of people are involved in this whole unity thing in the church, where Protestants are trying to unify with the Catholic Church. But that is the one world church that prophecies speak about, which is demonic and not of Yahweh. So I think that that's what it was symbolizing, was the church completely off track in false doctrine, and what it's doing, what our current circumstances are doing to people. So like Noah's car, I think that was, how a lot of times men will see a car as an extension of themselves. I think that that's what that meant. And that Noah crashed into the train tracks where he knew the train should be, and just the state of the church caused him to have a wreck spiritually. And maybe he's having a hard time getting back on track. The self-imposed turtle shell prison. I think a lot of people, a lot of individuals in our world today, because of our disposable relationships where we just throw people away, and because of the intense pain that people cause us sometimes, we will go into a shell and not allow ourselves to love others, not give of ourselves. And sometimes I think things look fun and we immerse ourselves in them and get trapped in these things that look like they were going to be enjoyable but are not for us. So anyway, those are the conclusions that I felt like I got through prayer over this dream. I hope that it's encouraging to you. If you have any insight or any thoughts on it or a similar dream, I'd sure be interested in hearing them. So again, I always ask if you have any prayer requests. I'd be happy to pray for you if you leave them below, or you can email me at DebInFullBloom, @gmail.com. So it's DebInFullBloom, because I'm not a young woman anymore. I'm not a bud, I'm a full bloom. DebInFullBloom, like a flower, 2 @gmail.com. Good night.